going to make potato salad. My husband came up with a recipe quite a few years ago. So it's called Ken's Potato Salad. So I've boiled up my potatoes ahead of time. I like to use just the yellow Dutch potatoes. And I cooked them up in my Instant Pot, but you can boil them just till they're tender. And if you do it in the Instant Pot, then they don't get all soggy at all because they're not sitting in the water. So you just want to dice up your potatoes so that they get to be about 1 centimeter cubes, just like that. And I've just got 6 to 8 potatoes here. My recipe you'll see at the end, I have a bit of a variation. So if you want to make a little bit of a smaller batch, use all the smaller numbers. If you want to make your batch a little bit bigger, use the higher numbers. So I actually did 8 potatoes today because we have some company coming. So I wanted to do a bit of a bigger batch. So I've got 8 potatoes that I have boiled and cooled, and they're all in here. I did peel my potatoes. Sometimes people like to use red potatoes and then they like to keep a little bit of the skin on so it looks pretty. You can do that as well. So you get your potatoes in your bowl, and then I boiled up, so hard boiled eggs, so that's 7 minutes boiled on the stove. Let them cool, peel them up. So I personally like to have a few more eggs in my potato salad. So I usually do a ratio of however many potatoes to that many eggs. So I have 8 potatoes, so I have 8 eggs. If you don't like as many eggs, don't put as many in. Doesn't really matter for this. So I like to boil my eggs, and then I'll just chop them up on my hand like this. As you mix your whole thing together, they will break up a little bit more. So we're just gonna cube up our eggs, and we're gonna throw those in with the rest. And if you miss one or two, you'll be able to see that when you put that in. And then we have some pickles and celery. So I have 1 to 2 stalks of celery that I've started chopping up. You can chop it by hand. This is still quite coarse, but I'm going to add my pickles to this, and I'm going to chop them up quite fine. So if you want to do a smaller batch, you can just do 4 pickles, or you can do 6 pickles if you really like pickles. So I'm just going to get my pickles in here, and then I'm going to chop it up with my little chopper, and I'll show you what that looks like. Go ahead. All right, so I'm just chopping up my pickles and my celery. Don't cut yourself on your blade. So I've just got that chopped up quite fine, and that's going to just all get mixed in with this. So those are the main ingredients, and then we're going to work on the dressing. So I'm just going to get this cleaned up a little bit here, and then I'll show you how to put the dressing together. All right, so we're going to work on the dressing part of our potato salad. I have 1.5 cups of mayonnaise. Actually, I think I have Miracle Whip. If you're going to do a smaller batch, you only need about 1 cup. But I'm going to do the larger batch here, so I have 1.5 cups of my Miracle Whip. I'm going to add in anywhere from 2 to 3 tablespoons of some pickle juice. So I'm doing the larger batch, so I am going to do 3 tablespoons of pickle juice in there. And I want to have a little bit of black pepper. And I'm doing half a teaspoon of salt. If you like it saltier, you can do up to a teaspoon. You might want to taste that before you put too much in. And then we want to have 2 tablespoons of yellow mustard. I think I'm going to do closer to 3 because I do have a larger batch here. All right, so then you just need to mix this up. And it'll be nice and yellow, a light yellow once you get it all mixed up in there between the mayonnaise and the mustard. All right, so I'm just mixing up my potato and my egg and the celery and pickle a little bit before I add in my dressing. So the longest time for potato salad is actually doing your potatoes and eggs ahead of time and getting them to cool completely before you assemble it all. Because actually doing the chopping up and doing this part here doesn't take that long. So now you just want to coat everything with your dressing. And if you find there's not quite enough dressing in, just squirt in some more mayonnaise or Miracle Whip. But this is looking good. All right, so you can come take a look at that consistency. You want to have that dressing on there on all your stuff. And then before you cover this up and put it in the fridge, you can cover it with, or decorate it or garnish it with some paprika so that it looks pretty. And you'll want to chill this completely in the fridge, so you can always make it the day before if you're having a barbecue, or earlier in the morning of the day of. And there we have our potato salad. So I'll put the recipe down here so you can take a look at that. So don't forget, you can do a smaller batch or a bigger batch. You can always play with your numbers a little bit. It's not a problem.